This one.
So which was
7, 8. CT.
Is it CD or DC?
CT. 7.
The motion of this will set the pitch of the main beam. The other one will just change the orientation of the button.
Correct. So the main beam is being set only by 5/6. This one.
Yeah. So it's two independent cases.
So I would start with the main beam. It's better to start with the first beam. What are the pivot points we have that are not going to change? This point, the fixed point of the cylinder, and the fixed point of the beam. So we'll be doing our markings around that. So my aim is to find the new point. Say that is A. This is A1. That is called this A1. I need to find the A2 point. How do I do that? What do I take as reference? I will take this point. This I will call it E. I will use E0 and A0 as reference. So from E0 to A1, I take an arc. And then the other arc I have to measure is AB, the new length is given. That is the new A1 point. Did you get this?
Okay, how did you get once you measure it as 1 point?
So from the first step is E0,
Okay, yeah.
E0 to A1, I draw the arc. Yeah, that's clear. A0, A1, that length is changing because it's cylinder. So it's 1.15, it's becoming 30% smaller. That's 0.7, it's 0.8 as close. So 0.8 as radius, A0 as center, where another arc.
Okay.
Intersection point is A2.
Okay.
Let's see, this is the distance here. This is 0.245. 0.5. Okay.
So it should be around horizontal, right?
Sorry, what?
A little bit over horizontal. The new orientation.
Closer to horizontal, but not horizontal. That's better. Then that end is 0.5 shifted. Is there a doubt?
Yeah, you're kind of blocking, so maybe you could explain every step.
So right now what it drew was just the new cylinder connection, but this end of the beam is shifted from here by 0.5. So I'm trying to draw that line.
So the reason why we need two arcs and 2 points is because it's not actually a part of the beam, but it could move to the side. So it's not moving along that axis that is the piston, but it's moving along that axis.
You always need two arcs and 2 points.
Right.
because you need two constraints to reach the answer. Because you have an x variable, y variable in 2D plane.
So the endpoint is called
A2 should be called.
you did mark it.
No.
Oh, that's again. Right.
How long is this thing? Taking the center. So now my focus is to get the new other point here on the beam and that point as well. So I need distances. So that's E, this is F, that's G. EF is 3.2, EG is 5, yes. So now I need to find the complete new position of the beam, and the main points of interest to me are F and G. So EF was 3.2, 6.2, so somewhere here. There's a small shift. How big? 0.2. Okay. So I'm trying to be more accurate, so I'm not approximating. So I had the upper line as the reference. From that, I'm seeing the shift downwards.
You also use the FE0 distance to get F1.
Oh yeah, that's true, right?
Compass.
Yeah, should have done that. Should have done that. Because E0F is there.
Yep.
Made the same mistake last class. I think if you try to measure and draw, it will be wrong. Like the professor won't accept it.
He wants compasses everywhere.
Yeah, and that makes sense because constructions. That's the F point. It's shifted, so it's there.
Line to rotate. Is it just parallel to A2, A0? Right?
Yes, but it doesn't have to be.
But then how do you wait, Karthik, you drew the line wrong. Because A0 should be on the beam. We don't know.
Why A0 should be on the beam?
Oh, sorry, E2 A2 should be on the beam.
Yeah, but there's this gap, right? I'm drawing the outer line.
Right.
Close enough. So this is the F2 point, F1 point. Now I need G.
What is the angle if you do this line? What is
I don't need an angle.
yeah, what is the new line?
The new line is just like I took the A1 point from that, but it's not parallel to A1, A0. Why did I choose A1, A0? Hmm. This is A0. My aim here is to try to draw the upper line of the beam.
I mean,
As
you can take the distance from E0 to F, make a circle, and then
that's what I
take
did.
the distance from A1 to F.
A2 to F. Okay.
And
Right,
you
right.
can make it from
Yes,
A2
yes.
to C.
Yes, true. Because A2 I know for sure. Yeah, it passes through there. Exactly. So my drawing is correct. So that gives you the F2 point without measurements. More accurate because there is no issue with the angles. Fortunately, I got lucky. I guess they are near parallel. Then I need to make the G point similarly. Again, 2 points of reference. E0 as reference, A0 as reference. No, not A0. I will use A2 as reference so that I get a new point and not the same point as it again. So if I use A1 as a reference, I will basically get the current G position. Nothing would change. Okay. So from A1, take A1G as radius, move to A2 as center, find the intersection point. That is G2. Cool.
We shouldn't even use the ruler to construct, but we should use the points.
Points, yes, the points are better, and then finally connect up everything with the ruler. So now we need to focus on this CD. I will just take it as C0, C1. It's becoming longer. The weight is 50% longer, right? It's correct. Correct. 4.2. Measure that. C0D as per the given question, but usually Professor Schmitz, what he does, he has the 0 point as the center and the other end as C1, C2. So I'm doing that convention. So that gives me one reference. Wait, it's not enough. So I measured C0, C1 earlier. It was 2.8 and now it's going to be 4.2. I take 4.2 as radius because it's becoming 50% longer, and with the same C0 point I draw the circle of that radius. So that was from C0 but with radius 4.2, which is the new length of the hydraulic cylinder given. Then I will take from F1 to C1. This is a fixed link, it's not going to change. I take F2 as reference and get that point. So F1 to C1, take F2 as reference. So this is my C1 point now. So that link has become so far tilted that it's like this. And they are on different planes, so it can overlap the beam. Doesn't matter, they are on different planes. C0, C1 initially 2.8, now 4.2. I keep same center C0 and with 4.2 as radius I make an arc. I take F1 as reference, take F1 C1 radius, then take F2 as center with the same F1 C1 radius, mark an arc. That intersection gives me the new C point, so C2. That's the question. Position of the shower. Okay. So then we continue further. We need the third point here. Let me call it H. Let me call this I. Let that stay as S. So I have F2, I have C2, I can get the new H. Because this link, I can only use this F and C as references. I can't go to C0 or E0 because this link only has two constraints, F and C. And here it's a fixed link, it's a mechanical part, right? It's just a structural element, so no length changes. F1, H. I hope it's enough. Let's see. Okay. Ah, almost enough. So F1H is radius, that's here. So F2 center, F1H radius. This would be C2 center, C1H as radius. H1. So this question is just long, but I don't believe a question of this length would be on the exam. Okay, question. Okay, how did I find C2? For C1, I look at the original C point, right? Before it moves, I can use two references. F as a reference, I don't know H, so I can take it, but I don't know where it is, so I cannot. That's useless to me. So I choose F1 as reference because F1 C1 is not going to change, and I take C0 as reference because I know the new C0 C1 length is 4.2, and then C0 as center, 4.2 as radius is one arc, F2 as center, F1 H1. Sorry, no, F2 as center, and F1 C1 as radius. Gives me the second arc, and the intersection is C2. Okay. Last step I did is to find the H2 point. That's H2 point. So now I have F, C, and H. I have. How do you think I could have? C1 H1, correct? And F1 H1. I already have F2 point. I have the C2 point. I have two references. I can get H2. So maybe this is H1. Last step would be to get I2 point. Not the last step, but the last but one. Similar thing. What can I take as references?
You could take G dash and H.
Yes. So the original G position, original H position, get those distances, and with the new G position, new H position, get mark those arcs. So H1, I1. So when you make arcs, make them big unless you know exactly where it's going to end up. And since you're doing this with pencil, you can erase it later. I chose H, okay. And then the other one is, I'm going for I1 already. Why? Should not have started with that. Because for I1 I need the G. Okay, I have G2 point. Then fine. I thought I didn't have G2. I did. Okay. My arc was a bit too small. Prophecy come true. H1, H2. Yes. Here. New I1 point. I2. Basically repetition of the same process again and again. 2 points as references and get those distances. If they change with the cylinder, then find the new distance by calculating it. If not, take it directly. Last step is to get S, because to draw the shape, to draw the shape, two references is already enough. But if they ask the S point, you can get it because GS and IS, they are not going to change. So, but in general, you can see this IG line has become horizontal, so it's like dumping the load. The last step would be to make all the joints. That's IG, and then the rest of the drawing. There. It's that. Okay. Be here. something like this approximately. So the beam is still there. What I'm missing is F1CH1, F2CH. I think I made some small errors, which is why the shape of the structure has changed. But in general, now once you have all the points, try to recreate all the beams given. You don't have to draw the exact shape of a cylinder, but with just lines at least recreate the shapes, and then you're done.